If I learned anything from my late father, it is foreign policy and how to pay attention to the defense industry. Welcome back to Independent Conversations. Let's have a conversation about the weapons industry. Why am I bringing up the weapons industry? Don't we have enough money going towards defense? Sorry, that's a bad joke. Anyways, so the reason why I'm bringing up defense industry, because remember last year when I brought up that story about how people like Macron, they're pissed about the Inflation Reduction Act because that's taking away jobs from Europe and bringing them back to America, and they're not really happy about that. Well, one of the ways that they're suddenly not happy with America is weapons. Yes, weapons. Let's talk France. Europe, France, and also the countries surrounding Russia, like Poland, most average of those countries are about 25 years behind compared to American weaponry. I have to give credit to American defense contractors. They've managed to keep every single piece of artillery we have modern, up to date, and don't get technologically behind it. We still have, like, the town that I live in we have this wonderful exhibit. It's called the Boneyard. It's where literally all the old bombers go to die. And when I say that, it's literally a museum of every single plane for the last 75 years. And it's about 10 miles of planes. It's very interesting. Go look it up. Come see it. Colvin Valencia Road. Anyways, so speaking of those planes, the B-2s, those planes, you ever see those? Oh, that's right, the American government does even acknowledge now that we even have them, because that's one of the greatest weapons and planes the American government actually has, but it doesn't actually acknowledge it for security purposes. Ugh. Hope I didn't give it too much away. So every country wants our weapons, but now, because America's a little serious about things like climate change, we got serious about the pandemic, we got especially serious about Ukraine, and also, we got serious about things like infrastructure, those little chips. We're starting to take away the jobs of Europeans and bring them back home, and people are pissed still. Oh, that's one thing that, Emmanuel Macron, he really knows how to hold a grudge. I'm saying that jokingly because Trump was just famous for holding grudges. But also, they're all looking at their own situations and saying, okay, we have a problem. Our weaponries are about 20 years outdated. The Americans have very modern technologies in weapons, because that's one of the greatest enigmas of America. We've overfunded defense since the 1960s. You can thank President Johnson for that. And we've underfunded our domestic policies, and literally every other country has funded domestic policies and underfunded defense. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. So what America has gotten right, it's also gotten wrong at the same time. Go figure. Last year alone we spent $840 billion on defense alone, not including the supplemental funding for Ukraine. Oh, and we are probably going to hit... Oh, that's what I forgot. The Republicans actually want cuts to defense spending, which is an absolute joke. They are not going to cut defense spending because Senate Republicans want funding for Ukraine. That baby's going to hit $1 trillion this year. Mark my words. So, it's just so ironic how these petty grudges come about, because they know they have a technological problem. Because it's not just Europe chooses to be 25 years behind. They have capabilities to make weaponries. They just don't have the money to spend, like us Americans. We don't. London is the only country that has a Wall Street capability like ours. That's you know, I know there's one in Tokyo and some. Oh, I forgot where the other ones are. Forgive me. But how do you compete with a government that can print money in any way it chooses? And other countries really don't do that. But also, let's talk about NATO. Okay, so the NATO alliance under the Trump administration, all these countries agreed to spend roughly about 2% on defense. And actually, but that's one of the things that Biden actually agrees with Trump on. And some countries are sticking to it. Some countries are trying to fight Biden on that. But also, they see the situations happening in Russia. Some people believe there's an advanced threat from China to Taiwan. And they're getting nervous because how do you wean from something that is badly needed? And what I'm talking about is weapons. So when you're in a bad situation, how do you already make a bad situation not already worse? That's the magical question. If you have the answer, leave the comment down below.